sisters who have followed their vision to build businesses, institutions, or services that serve, profit, and uplift our community. Listen as we share the ideas, experiences, and skills that help to shape their unique stories of commitment, perseverance, and triumph. Be inspired and catch your vision on Visions of Our People. Now, here's our host.
Pamoja Tutashinda, brothers and sisters, together we will win. On this Visions of Our People podcast, we share the vision of poet Dadisi Netifnet. Brother Dadisi is a Houston, Texas-based poet. He's a published poet who has entertained nursery school classes, college audiences, and even an international women's fashion show held in Atlanta, Georgia in 1985. His formula for writing good poetry: I write what I feel. Dadisi will tell you. And what he feels is very powerful if we look at his publication record. In 1986, his poem, I've Got Plenty of Nothing, was published in the New York Poetry Foundation, Incorporated. This poem was Dadisi's response to his stage experience in the musical Porgy and Bess in 1967 in Charleston, South Carolina, where he was born and reared. It was there in Charleston that Mo Smalls, Dadisi's boss at a local hotel, influenced Dadisi, then a bellboy, to develop his mind and make something of himself. So he moved to Atlanta, Georgia in 1977, where he learned how serious was his inability to read. Dadisi enrolled in a community educational center to improve his reading and writing skills. Throughout the years, he has been in an intense struggle to improve his art of writing. He has read his poetry in many cities throughout the United States, Windsor, Canada, and in Egypt, Senegal, Gambia, and Freeport, Grand Bahamas. In 2002, Dadisi Netifnet was awarded the Shakespeare Trophy of Excellence and the 2002 Poet of the Year Gold Medallion by the famous Poets Society. In 2004, he donated the gold medallion to the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History in Detroit, Michigan. He has written 8 books. Look for him at area poetry readings and arrange for him to read to your group and to give all of his publications for your library. You will be uplifted and delighted. Tonight, brothers and sisters, on our Visions of Our People podcast, we want to share the vision of poet Dadisi Netifnet, author, actor, filmmaker. This brother has got some serious skills that we want to share with you all during this podcast. And I want to say at this time, welcome to Visions of Our People, my brother.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you for having me.
Sure. My brother, as I always start all of my podcasts off to introduce my guests with our audience, the Visions of Our People audience, I always ask who you are. So who is poet Dadisi Netifnet?
I was born to Anna Mae and Elijah Austin in Charleston, South Carolina. My birth name is Marvin Leroy Austin. When I was, I have 8 brothers and sisters. I'm the 9th, I'm the 7th child. There's a total of 9 of us. I'm the 7th child. Born and raised in Charleston, South Carolina. When I was growing up, I had a very troubled childhood life. I was functionally illiterate. Put in a special education class at a very early age, I think around about the 6th grade. And I've been struggling with that ever since. But I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay now.
You said that you were functionally illiterate. Now you've written books. So explain how did that happen, my brother?
Well, when I wasn't, I didn't start school until I was 6 years old, the 1st grade, and I was not introduced to my ABCs, numbers, my colors, all those things that matter to a child. I don't know, for whatever reason, I didn't get it. So when I got in the first grade, I was already behind, trying to catch up and everything. And I think one of my teachers, when I was in sixth grade, she saw how bad I was doing. She decided to put me in a special education class. My parents, they didn't graduate out of high school. My parents got married very young, and they stopped going to school very young also. So, but education was important. My daddy used to say that education is the key to success. However, I wasn't given the tools to succeed back then. When I got out of high school, and then a whole new world opened to me. That's when I began to teach myself how to read.
So you're saying that you didn't learn how to read until after you got out of high school?
Yeah, not until I got out of high school. When I was in high school, I was like reading like the Cat in the Hat books, Sam I Am, all of those children type books. In the 11th and 12th grade, I was reading those type of books. So I never was really challenged, to other materials until I got out of high school and I started going to the library, and it kept getting better for me.
So let me back up a little bit, my brother, back to your elementary year. You're saying that you didn't get assigned to a special ed until the sixth grade. How did you manage to get past from those grades to the elementary, to sixth grade, without somebody catching that before then? So were your teachers just passing you along, or were you that sophisticated where you were able to okey-doke your way through the I shouldn't say okey-doke, or you managed to figure out how to pass tests or whatever the requirements were to move from one grade to the next?
Well, my mother was totally opposed to me being promoted to one grade to another, which she did. She tried to stop that. She said, my child is not learning, and you're going to make him cripple. I mean, my mother came to the principal office and tell him that. But when I was in the sixth grade, I was in this play called Porgy and Bess. It's a Broadway play. And I was cast as one of the actors, and I got the role. And so I became very famous in the sixth grade. They called me Porgy and everything, And my teacher, they liked me, but my mother didn't like how I clowned around and things of that nature. For whatever reason, they kept on skipping me. My mother told them not to send me to high school, and they did. So she did her best, and she said, well, son, it's going to be up to you, once you get out of high school. And so I said, well, I'm not going to fail my mama, and I'm not going to fail myself. So I'm going to do the best I possibly can to become somebody. Because that's what people back home in Charleston used to always say, you got to become somebody. And I knew I had to become somebody. I don't know how, but I was going to do my best.
Well, let me ask you this. At some point, did you ever feel like you were thriving during your early years of elementary school, middle school, and high school, or did you always feel like, I'm special ed and I can't do anything, and I'm just gonna let things be as they are?
No, I never settled. I was determined that, okay, I didn't like school and I didn't quite get it, but I'm gonna read this book. My brother introduced me to a book, Dick Gregory's book. That was the first book I ever read, the book called Nigger, when I was living in Atlantic City. When I moved to visit my brother in Atlantic City one summer, and that was one of the requirements that, before you leave New Jersey, which I was in Atlantic City at that time, you had to read a couple of books for the summer. So I decided to read Dick Gregory's book, which was pretty easy to read. And then there's one thing led to another. I could, okay, I can read this book. It makes sense to me and everything. And then whenever I come across a large vocabulary word which I didn't know, I've learned to look into the dictionary and try to understand that word. I remember the first word I learned, vocabulary word, was optimistic. To be optimistic. So, and what's the opposite of optimistic? Pessimistic. So I just kept on, striving, trying to make my life better.
So apparently, at some level, you did know how to read.
Yeah, I did. I wasn't so illiterate that I didn't know how to speak. I didn't know how to do this stuff. I did. Life, as you grow, you learn things. Yeah, and my grades was getting better, but it was for special education grades. When I graduated out of high school, my last name is Alston, Alston. I thought I was supposed to be in the front of the line because that's what people with the alphabet. But my teacher put me in the back of the line, because the front of the line was people who were going to go to college and things of that nature, who had high marks and everything. I didn't know that. I was hurt when I graduated out of high school. I felt the pain, like what I'm gonna do now. I wanted to go in the Merchant Marine, but I couldn't find no way of getting into that organization. I wanted to go in the Navy. I took that test and I failed the exam. So my sister was living in Atlanta, Georgia, Jackie, and I said, I had my mother call her and I said, can I move to Atlanta, Georgia to live with her? And she gave me that permission, my sister did. And when I moved to Atlanta, my life changed.
That was quite a journey there, my brother. And I guess reading anything by Dick Gregory, if you could get through one of his books, that had to have a great impact on your life. Or looking back, did that impact your life at all, being able to read that book?
It sure did. As a matter of fact, I had an opportunity to meet Dick Gregory just before he died. Yeah, here in Houston, and I told him how his book had inspired me, because I met him in earlier years in Atlantic City. He came and spoke at one convention center or something like that, and I went to see him. And then I saw him just before he died here in Houston, Texas. Yeah. That was a good book and everything. And then I started reading books by Langston Hughes. And that would inspire me to write poetry. I want to write just like that man. I just simple things, to the point, humorous, love, about the struggle, all of that. I read almost all his books.
When did you get the vision to write your book, Upward Road?
Well, I started writing that book in 1984 in Atlanta, Georgia. Let me tell you I didn't just write that book straight out. It took me almost 30 years to write that book, because I started off writing poetry. I wrote my first poetry book, Poetry for the Day's Young Black Revolutionary Mind. And then what I did, I started writing chapters about my early life growing up in Charleston, South Carolina. So as time went on, I kept on writing other things, but I would take time to write a chapter about some highlights that happened in my life, and I said it's going to be my autobiography, and I just kept on working on that. I never just sat down and just write that book. I never did that with any of my books. Never just sit down and just write a book. I never did that. I just write whenever I was inspired. I don't even write like that today. I just write whenever I'm inspired. Cause see, I never wished, I hope to be a writer. No, that was a gift given to me, because I was going home one Tuesday night, because I'm a member of the Shrine of Black Madonna. And Cardinal Sunday, I guess he recognized something within me. He told Jabari, one of the ministers, that he wanted me to become the Bible class ritual leader. And the Bible class ritual leader is someone who get up before the person who's going to do the lecture. You get up and you welcome the audience. and you say a prayer. And that was my first time doing public speaking when I did that. So that night when I first went home to try to write my prayer, because Jabari said, go home and write your prayer and then give it back, give it to me, and I'll critique it. I tried to write a prayer that night. This so happened on the news. Ethiopian children were starving. There was a famine going on in Ethiopia. I felt sad and I heard about that. So when I attempted to write my prayer, I ended up writing almost like a rebellious poem. You know, how black folks needed to try to rise up and defend our children and defend ourselves and everything, you know. And then when my roommates came home, Kofi, Oladi, and Seifu, we all were roommates, I showed them the poem, and they liked the poem, and they said, Oladi said, you know, maybe that's your gift from God, you know, maybe you one of the last poet. And so I believe he was right. I stuck to poetry, and I've been writing poetry for the last 38 years.
You managed to put yourself in a position where folks didn't realize your talent. Did you realize that, or is that just something that you never really thought about?
I never even thought about it. Cardinal Sunday really believed in me because he put me. He made me a clerk in the shrine of the Black Madonna bookstore and culture center. And so now I'm around all these books all the time. So what I did, I took upon myself, I said, I'm gonna educate these customers on some of these books so they can buy these books. And I became the top salesperson because I would read books and I would go to a person as they're looking for a book and everything. I would tell them a little information, get them all inspired by the story. Wow, I would sell that book, you know? So he really believed in me, you know, and matter of fact, he's the one that made it possible for me to move to Detroit once I graduated from school in Atlanta as a printer. You know, he said, you want to go to Detroit? I said, yeah. So he opened up a lot of doors for me.
Who would you say influenced you the most?
People who inspired me, and these are people who I met. Maya Angelou, I met her. Nika Giovanni, and I already mentioned Sunday. Naomi Long Magic, she was the founder of Lotus Press in Detroit, and she became like a mother to me. You know, when I moved to Detroit, she had a self-publishing workshop, and she wanted different people to enter their poems be a part of the workshop. You had to submit 3 poems, and I happened to be one of the person who submitted my poem and was appointed to work in that workshop. So she inspired me. You know, we used to talk all the time. You know, she lived to be about 97 years old, and I knew her about 25 years before she died.
How much of that struggle or the things that you went through is in your book, Upward Road?
I kind of feel like I poured my heart into that book. I have another continuation of the story of that autobiography. You know, 'cause we all have a story to tell. You know, I just happen to be bold enough with my special education to be bold enough to say, you know, y'all ain't gonna stop me from doing what I want to do. You know, I may not know how to spell this word correctly, but I'm gonna try to write it down and get it out, and somebody's gonna help clarify what I'm saying. You know, so I'm not the best speller. You know, I'm not the best reader or anything. I'm good. You know, I try to make things happen. I try to create an imaginary world. You know, where black folks doing great things. You know, so I try to bring to the realization these are things that happen to us as black people. We must rebel. We must do something about it. You know, and you know, I talk about love and all this. There's so much to write about. There's endless stories. And I'm just proud to be a part of this historical journey that other writers have gone through. Maya Angelou, Nika Giovanni, like I said, you know, Claude McKay, you know, the Harlem Renaissance people and everything. Those people inspired me because I read their work, you know, and so I was trying to continue that legacy with my work, you know, be a part of that legacy. But I must give credit. My foundation was built at the shrines of the Black Madonna. And the leader at the time of the Shrine of the Black Madonna was our founder, Jermoja Bebe Anjuman. So he set his program out to help uplift Black people. And I guess I must say I'm one of those type of person he uplifted, and through his program, I was able to achieve many things. When I was a little boy, all I ever wanted to do is travel around the world when I was a little boy. When I joined the Shrine of the Black Madonna and became a missionary, I went to about 30 states. So the Shrine helped me fulfill my dream of traveling. I won the trip in Detroit that McDonald was sponsoring and the radio station was sponsoring to go to West Africa, the Kunta Kinte village. I think it was about 1992. I won that trip. But had I not been in the Shrine of Black Madonna in Detroit, I would never went there. I was at the Shrine of Black Madonna bookstore when I found out that a trip was going to Egypt. I was always at the right place at the right time at the Shrine of Black Madonna. So I'm here in Houston is because the Shrine of Black Madonna. So I give my credit where credit is due. Okay, I'll read a poem from my first book that was published in 1994, Poetry for Today's Young Black Revolutionary Minds. This poem is entitled, I See Vision. I see vision, visions of a productive future where there's no poverty, no ghettos, no illiterate Black adults raising hopeless children, no Black on Black crime, no penitentiaries flooded with Black males. I see vision of a network of Black institutional power structure that function independently from the predominantly white society, a place where no one is discriminated against because of his lack of knowledge. I see vision of Black independently owning farmland, places where there is harmony among our church members as they keep the land in operation according to the will of God. I see brothers and sisters packing and shipping food from one region to another, sharing the wonderful harvest with those who are working to maintain the progress of our noble race. I see visions of our children in successful competition with other children of other races, smiling, reflecting the image of God. I see vision of a Black government creating policy and charting our own trade and commerce with other ethnic groups. I see visions of glory, in spite of the fact that so many members of our race have given up all hope that Black people will ever be free. I see vision of a brighter tomorrow if we are willing to labor today. I see visions, I see visions, I see vision. Thank you. Well, they can go to my website, poet.dc.com, and they see all of my books and all the other things I've created, And of course, you can go to Amazon and you can go to Barnes and Noble, they have my books. I don't only just do books, I do other things too, So I'm trying to be the best I can be. Keep on striving. Try to be the best that you possibly can be. Work on yourself. Ain't nobody gonna do it but you. Don't take your talent to the grave. And it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right.
Brothers and sisters, you've been witnessing the talented and gifted poet Dadisi, author of 8 books, including his autobiography, Upward Road. You can purchase his other books on his website at poet.dc.com. You can also follow him on his YouTube channel at poet.dc. Visions of Our People would like to thank Poet Dadisi for joining us, and we thank you for watching our podcast. You can support the Visions of Our People podcast by sending your donation to Kefing, Moor. Please feel free to like, comment, and share our podcast with your network of family and friends. And we invite you to join us again on Visions of Our People. Poet Dadisi. It is an honor to invite you into his creative mind. Here you hear a tune from his musical CD, I Saw Two Rainbows in the Sky, entitled, It's All About You. Dadisi hopes his works will inspire you to tap into your own creativity and share with the world what you too have to offer. Please visit his website at www.poetdadisi.com.
Thank you for joining us for Visions of Our People. We hope that our stories of commitment, perseverance, and triumph have inspired you to follow your vision of creating businesses, institutions, and services that uplift our brothers and sisters, serve our community, and make us the great people that our Creator made us to be. We wish you peace and blessings, and we invite you to join us again for Visions of Our People.